and realize that the missing link in everything that we try to do, Claude, is the absence of the proper mindset. How do we get the proper mindset into our people? I teach at our school that no slaves were ever brought to America. That human beings were captured and brought over here, sold into bondage, and through a diabolical process converted into slaves. And that diabolical process involved the emptying out of those things that constitutes a person's humanity, and then replacing that with some other garbage that would give sustenance to this new creature called a slave. That is a mind process. You use beating on the body to effectuate the mental change, but the change has to take place in the mind. While we have been set free legally from physical bondage, no process has ever been instituted by which to disengage the effectiveness of that previous process which produced the creature in the first place. So we have bodies running around talking about things, but our mentalities are still back there as the result of what was done to us in order to convert us into that slave. The slave-making process, do not kid yourself, was a mental thing. So unless and until we reinstill into our people the right mindset as to who they are, from whence they came, and why they are here and what they've got to do, we will continue to have dirty glasses to complain about. So we're here to put down or start the process of putting down the clean glass. I want to say one last thing, and that is that no event of any scale or scope, even a million-man march, no event can undo the damage and the harm done by a process. We didn't submit to being slaves overnight. It took generations. I think Claude estimated 8 or 10 generations for them to convert us from the Africans we were to the slaves that we became. What makes us think that any single gathering, including this one today, by and of itself, is going to undo all of that damage and all that harm? But the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step, somebody said. So today is that first step in that journey to start that process, to effectuate the process, which will undo the damage, remove the garbage that was put into our people during that other process, and go through another process of refilling us with the essence of what our Creator God invested us with in the first place. And that was a wise Father, Mother God that saw fit to do that. And we are made in the image and likeness of that created us. Right. So we have to do the same thing here in the earth realm.
And I think that this type of education that we're talking about comes first, because we do have a lot of wealthy black people. Just look at all your athletes and entertainers, but none of them have any conscious mindset, whatever. So you got all this money and all this exposure and all this communication that goes to waste because they don't have any backing behind it. Whereas you have Arabs and Asians and people like that come over here, they come over here with the education that they got from where they come from, and they're doing it for their own personal reasons, like everything we do. You know, even you guys here today are doing this because you have a personal drive to do it, and your personal drive just happens to be black people. Well, their personal drive happens to be their nation. They come over here to use this economic power to better their nation the best way they can, whatever. And they're going to try and take and drain America for all this milk, whatever, and go back to wherever they go, and they're going to try and make their people the paramount leaders inside the world. Well, that's why I think education is still so important, because we have a lot of people who we can get to do the same thing, but they're not thinking along the right lines to get that to happen. That's why meetings like this are so important, whatever, and it's even more important rather than trying to get people that are already rich now to do things for us, because they've already been educated to the point a lot of times where this black stuff doesn't make any sense to them. But you do have a lot of young people who are still fresh and raw, open and susceptible to these type of teachings, who are just waiting to be swayed one way or the other. They can go down that path, this path, the other path, because they don't know yet. So that's the thing that I think you really need to stress, is trying to get young people to understand this type of curriculum more. And if you have schools, whatever, that you can teach it through, that's good. If you have your own children, I think it's good for them to come to these type of events so they can see people and they can form their own views and opinions and mix that with their more modern technological inclinations, whatever. So you have a new breed of nationalists, not necessarily the kind that have to get out on the streets and boycott and hand out flyers to get everything done, but they can get on the internet and light up the email system and make sure with the click of a button 10,000 people get a notice for something. So I think that's what we really need to focus on. Thank you.